Let's talk now with Cindy. Cindy, you're with Allworth Money Matters.
Hello.
Hello.
So I have a question about whether or not I should buy a rental.
Okay.
My husband and I both have IRAs, which we've started to do Roth conversions on just this last year, and we have pensions.
Are you retired?
We are retired, but both of us are working just part-time.
Okay.
For probably a couple more years.
Okay. And your pensions, when did you both retire?
2022 and 2012 for my husband, but he's, like I said, he took a little time off, but is still working part-time.
And how much are your pensions on an annual basis or monthly?
Combined, about $220.
Those are hefty pensions.
And how old are you?
58 and 64.
And what's your outside family income of your part-time jobs?
It depends how much we work, but probably about 65 or 70,000.
Combined or each?
Combined.
Okay.
And we do have a kid in college still also.
Are you eligible for Social Security?
Not yet.
Will you be?
Not. Yes, we will be.
Well, the 64-year-old is eligible.
Yes.
It's working.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you have in 401ks, IRAs, that sort of thing?
Okay, so IRA combined about 1.6 or 5.
Okay.
And then about 1.6, and then cash we have a little over about 140.
And what's your home worth?
About 1.3.
And do you owe anything on it?
We did take a little out to do about 120 out to do like some fixing up.
And what's the interest rate on that?
I think it's like 5.8 or 9.
Okay.
And why do you want to buy a rental?
I just feel like it'll appreciate and it might be a good investment, and the rent will pay for most of the mortgage.
Have you ever owned a rental?
No.
I just got rid of my last rental December. So just
and where would this rental be?
Well, hopefully in a desirable neighborhood that people want to rent in, or I would even consider buying a fixer-upper and flipping it.
And how do you plan on financing this?
Well, that's my question. I was going well, we would finance it and then have to pay the mortgage, but the rent would pay part of that.
Oh,
or we could move out of our primary and move into the rental, and all the rent from a primary would pay for the mortgage.
Cindy.
What are you trying to accomplish? What is the end goal here?
Just, I guess, diversification, I guess.
Cindy, you guys have done so well.
You got massive pensions.
You have, when your Social Security kicks in for both of you, we're looking at income of around $270,000 a year.
Or more.
And that's not even taking distributions from your IRA. If you were sitting in my office, which I've had this conversation, and by the way, I had it with a gentleman in 2007 where he told me, I didn't understand, Pat, real estate's going to go forever, and he bought 5 homes in Florida. Fortunately, I stopped them, asked them nicely not to use any of their IRA money, because when they lost all the homes, they still had that. Okay. Because they ultimately lost all the homes. And I'm only an advisor. I'm not a dictator. So I couldn't, I just looked at it and thought, this is crazy. But you and your spouse have done so well. It's unbelievable. Like when you were growing up, did you think you'd ever amass this much money? And by the way, your net, that $220,000 a year, if I did a net present value of that, based upon your life expectancy,
$4 or $5 million. $4
or $5 million. It's like having $4 million in an account. You've done so well. Did you ever imagine you would have done this well?
No, but I am a little bit of a saver.
Oh, that's
I don't
perfect.
like to spend.
But that's another reason you should not buy a rental house.
So if you said, I've got $2 million in the bank, I'm trying to figure out, and we think we want to buy a rental. Okay, now you're talking about deploying some capital you have. But right now you've got $100,000 in the bank.
And actually, effectively, you owe $120,000 on. So you have $140,000 in the bank, and you owe $120,000 on a loan that's 5.9%. And the money you have in the bank is probably earning less than 4%. My recommendation is take the money from the bank, pay off the home loan at 5.9%.
And if you want to invest in real estate, you can always use some of your IRA and allocate it to a real estate investment trust that specializes. If you love primary residence, then do it in primary residence.
A traded REIT. Traded.
Yeah.
We preface that with the word traded REIT, not a non-traded REIT. I would say absolutely crazy. You've never owned one before. You have no idea what it's like. And Scott, how did you feel after you sold your last one?
I was so happy.
Well, my concern, I think, is that I feel like my concern is my kid is not going to be able to afford a home later, so buying one now might.
Okay, that's a different story.
Okay,
that's not diversification.
That's a family.
That's family planning here.
Yeah, and my answer to that, how old is your child?
18.
Okay, and we have no idea where your child's going to land, right?
Right.
Look, I have 4 children. One lives in LA, 2 live in San Diego, and 1 lives in Colorado. Right? And and they all grew up in Sacramento, and somehow they just had this incredible desire to get away from them, from their mother and myself.
My daughter's been in Denver for years. She's moving back to Northern California, so hallelujah.
So when that occurs, when that time occurs, that child needs help, it's highly usual. In fact, pretty common for people with a higher net worth to help their children purchase their first home.
My 30-year-old daughter says she has no of her friends that own a home. This is age 30. Age 30. The friends that own homes all got help from their parents. She says, I don't know anyone who owns a home that didn't have a helping hand from a parent.
So when that time comes, then we should address it. But you're not really the home values, although they've risen significantly in the last couple of years in most of the United States. It won't be like this forever. It won't leave. So I appreciate the fact that you're worried about your child, but you have the means to help them when the time comes.
When the time comes.
Okay.
But I would not, if you want to ruin a nice quasi-retirement that you guys are enjoying, buy a rental house. And better yet, if you want to put some pressure on a marriage, buy a flipper, a fixer-up. If you just want to test how good your relationship is, where you actually get in an argument over what kind of linoleum. And the problem with flip houses for people that have never owned them is they want to improve these houses to the quality of the homes that they live in, which oftentimes doesn't make economic sense. That's just the reality of it. But you're doing great. But our advice to you is to take that money out of the bank and pay off that home loan.
You're going to take $100,000 out and buy what price house, and then then the air conditioner goes kaputs, and you got to put a new air conditioner in. That's $25,000 or whatever.
Okay.
That's our opinion.
My husband will be happy.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. Just,
Okay.
You've done great. By the way, you're in the top 1% in the United States in terms of income,
pension,
and net worth at your age. Top 1%.
Huge pensions.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that makes me feel good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
It's interesting, Pat. Look, if you are in the real estate management business, great. Maybe owning residential properties is a phenomenal place for you to be. But my personal experience, so I've owned duplexes, I've owned single-family residences, commercial buildings, But on the personal side of things, so I've owned duplexes in not the most desirable neighborhood. Actually, they did very well, capital appreciation on them. But there's still you can imagine the issues that happen with duplexes, even when you have a property manager, right? Even when you have a property manager. I've owned homes in retirement communities.
You owned a home in a college community, didn't you?
I owned a home in a college community. That was my last one I just got rid of. And so it's funny. My daughter went to, I'm telling a little personal story here. My daughter was in college, having trouble somewhere to live. I looked at the real estate market. I'm like, these homes are cheap here. I bought with the 100% intent on what's the best rental. 0 lot line.
No swimming pool.
No, there's not even a patio cover.
Right.
And this was in Portland area, so you could not go outside because you get
one
rained
goes
on.
outside.
No. And I think it was 5 bedrooms and like a den. So we ended up, it was 6 bedrooms. So when she was in college, there was 6 college girls living there. And then I rented it out after she left. And this is about 10 years. I calculated the return. I did a simple calculation. ChatGPT had calculated the return for me, just out of curiosity, and it did roughly 10% a year. I wasn't able to get the tax deduction because there's limits on income stuff, so I wasn't able to get that. It was the same thing Cindy wouldn't have been able to get.
You would have been better off just buying a traded REIT or
same thing.
equity or.
And to me, the final thing is just, and I had a great property manager, but Scott, we need to get a new toilet. And then even during escrow, it was, there's some rat infestation in the attic. And then, so the buyers are trying to come, you know how that happens sometimes, right? You're in escrow and then there's still a contingency. And so it's not done until it's done. And then they've got a little leverage. You're pushing back. And then I'm sitting there thinking, I've been in escrow for these people with almost 30 days.
You didn't try to tell them that they were pets and they came with the house.
It's a habit trail. Didn't you see? We've got tubes all over the house. One giant habit trail. They could have easily brought me down even further because now it's vacant.
Yeah.
And I'm selling a vacant house in a different city.
And you're in contract.
If they were smart, they would have got another $5,000 out of me or something, right? Because what am I going to do? Put it back in the market and hope someone buys it in the next 2 months?
Yeah, the carry alone.
And I did an exchange using the Delaware Statutory Trust, DST, into a
Perfect sense.
Into a actually put it into a senior living thing that's someone else manages. I manage nothing, and my monthly check's the same.
So Scott, I had clients. And
no management anymore.
They went to retire, and they came to me, and they had 20 rental properties.
Well, did they have someone working full time managing them?
No, his wife did not work outside of the home, so she managed.
Was very busy.
She was extremely busy, and so he talked about how he was going to retire and that they were going to travel. And
she's not traveling.
And that's what I said to him. I said
she's got a full. She's not.
I said you can quit your job, but your wife can't travel with you like that because she works full time. She said, no, she doesn't work outside the home. I said, no. If you actually tracked her hours, I assure you, she works 30, 40 hours a week on this. And she did. And so they got the portfolio down from 20 homes to about 5 over a 5-year period. And the economics, look, they used leverage. I said, but in retirement, you don't really want to use that much leverage. That's not the time for leverage in your life. It's not when you add risk. It's when you de-risk in retirement.
And I imagine the homes were around the region where they lived.
That's right. They could see them all.
And they lived where in California?
Yeah, they lived.
Okay, they lived in the right place. There's other parts of the country they would have had a very different experience.
Yes. And it happens. So, anyway.
There's nothing wrong with rentals, just
don't know what you're doing. You got
to realize that it's not a passive investment, even when you have property manager.
Talking to the guy that was on the phone with our insurance agent,